I took this 7-figure startup founder from around 200 followers to 1.k followers in just 36 days. We added around 30k to their pipeline. So let's get started. Now, this is a picture that he sent me, that after a week of working with them on their Twitter profile, we got 4 leads past iteration, 2 are good and 1 is hot. And basically what we did is we worked on their Twitter profile. So the thing was, they get a lot of leads from LinkedIn, networking, some private groups, but they wanted something more organic, okay? They want to stop sending emails, sending direct messages, and all this dancing cold outreach thing, right? And maybe getting inbound customers to their business. Now, if you don't know who I am, I'm basically a boring SaaS guy on Twitter. I talk about SaaS, I build SaaS in public, all these nice things, blah, 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 whatever. And what I'm doing right now is I'm sharing lessons, I'm sharing marketing lessons to help founders build an organic sales machine so they don't need to send more cold outreach, or maybe doing that less and maybe spending less on advertisements. And throughout my time on Twitter, I talked and interacted and chatted and did some calls with founders, and there are major problems they are doing, and I want to teach you in this video exactly how I did this for this founder. So by the end of this video, you can apply this strategy for your own startup and getting some traction. Now the thing is, this thing is not just working on Twitter, it's global on all social media. If you apply that on LinkedIn, it's gonna work. If you apply that on TikTok, it's gonna work. Obviously, there are some specifics that you need to change between each platform, but the overall strategy is the same. So let's break it down. By the way, I post content more on Twitter, and if you wanna get updated fast, follow me on Twitter, because I post the content first on Twitter and then I post it on YouTube. First of all, becoming the expert. Now the thing is, people online are skeptical, okay? They don't know who you are, they don't know if what you're talking about is true, and basically everyone can copy paste some content and can say, I'm the expert, right? We need to position ourselves as the expert, okay? Now how do we do that? We need to prove that we know what we are talking about. So we need to show the results we got for other people. Okay, so if you have some clients, okay, I have this 100 people, I hired this guy for this company, I did this, I did that. Okay, be specific, say exactly what you did, use numbers, and use social proof. Okay, maybe you say helping 100 plus founders do this, do that, I already helped this and that person. Now, in Twitter specifically, your bio, banner, pin thread, they all should position you as the expert. Now, let's take a look at my profile, for example. It's not best optimized, but let's take a look. Okay, so here I said build SaaS in 47 hours in public, growing it to 220k MRR, right? So what I'm doing here is I said I built SaaS in 27 hours, aka it means that I know what I'm talking about. So if I'm talking about growing SaaS, I'm talking about that from experience, okay? So there is a proof that I know what I'm talking about. And I said it again, specific, using numbers, okay? A lot of people use things like, I grew my company from 7 figures to 8 figures. For the founder I worked with, basically they grew the company to 7 figures. Grew our company to 100k MRR, and I mentioned that in the bio. Also, people will follow you on social media because you are the expert and you solved for them some problem. Okay, so in your bio, what I say here is grow your SaaS. So if someone wants to grow their SaaS, maybe marketing, maybe copywriting, maybe knowing some technical stuff, they know that I'm the right guy to do that. And to back that up, now everyone can say grow your SaaS. Everyone can maybe say they built some SaaS. But then I add to that a thread. So in this thread, I add a story of how I built a SaaS in 47 hours and exactly the lessons that I learned from it. So not only I say, I also show. Okay, so this is what I mean by your bio, your banner, your pin thread should all connect and show you as the expert. Focus on growth, not on sales. Now I see a lot of founders, they start on Twitter, they start promoting their stuff, they start selling their stuff, and maybe they convert here and there, but it's not really consistent, okay? Social media is about being social, right? Like you can't sell to people every day and expect them to come and buy from you, okay? And basically what people do is you come to some party, maybe you are invited, maybe you are even uninvited, and you just sell to people stuff. You tell them, hey, come to this party. My party is the best, right? And it's kind of weird. It's weird. So first of all, before you even start selling your stuff, you need to build some trust. You need to build some relationships. And after that, when people are ready to hear what you have to say, maybe then you show them your services. Okay. So what I did with this profile, instead of just promoting stuff, just go buy my stuff, I focused on, first of all, building the audience. First of all, getting some people to follow the profile, getting some engagements, getting some content. Now, the thing is, most of social media, if you'll take a look, is built from beginners. Now, if you want to grow your profile, talking about specific stuff that only a certain amount of people will understand, it's gonna be very hard to grow your profile. So what we did is we were thinking about topics that are relevant obviously to the founder that we can talk about, that are also relevant for beginners. If right now a beginner is gonna read this content, we want them to like it. We want them to comment on this. Why? Because then we'll get comments, we'll get likes, we'll get engagement, we'll get some shares, reposts, retweets, and more people are gonna see that we are gonna get as much reach as possible. Now, I know you might say right now, yeah, but I don't really want to work with beginners. That's okay. But if you want to get as much reach as possible, you need first of all to get as many people as possible to your profile. 1, maybe 2 out of 10 will be your ideal customer. But first of all, you take as many people as possible, and then you filter them. And I'll talk about it in the other point, but bear with me. So to reach your ideal customer, you mix between beginner content and advanced content. And then you narrow it down to the specific people that you want to work with. Make sure you click the subscribe and like button so more people can see this. And if you got any value out of this, subscribe so you can see more content about growing your social media and growing your business organically. Now, the next thing is writing long form content. Now, you're watching me right now on YouTube and we talk about Twitter. So on Twitter is threads, on YouTube it might be videos, on LinkedIn it might be long form posts. And for example, TikTok is not a long form post, but basically we have a combination of long form and short form. Okay, so what do I mean by writing banger threads? What I'm talking about is we are gonna use regular tweets or short form tweets to ask questions, to do some research about our audience. Okay, what are your pains? What are your challenges? What are things that you are stuck right now? One of the things that I do is I post lists, okay, short lists that I can write maybe in 2 minutes. For example, this one. If the post is getting a lot of likes, a lot of engagement, and people seem to like it, it means that it's validated. Once it's validated, I can take it and I can make it long form content and make it a thread. And then we also want to make sure that we show up daily on the feed, okay? We want to keep reminding people about who we are, what we are doing. So people see my profile, boring SaaS guy, boring SaaS guy, boring SaaS guy. They see me every day. It's like you brainwash people to remind them who you are, what you do, and when they need their problem solved, oh, this is the boring SaaS guy, or this is the guy that knows about sales. They will see you again and again and again. And it reminds me of a lesson I learned from the book Influence. I recommend you to read this. But basically, our brain is kind of stupid. If you see something again and again and again, there is some kind of called familiarity bias. So you become familiar with a thing and you think that you are friends or you are close, and this is exactly what we are trying to do on the feed. This is the regular routine content. But if we want to grow, we need long form content and we need to use threads to grow. Now, with this specific person, what we did is we wrote a thread that was very broad. Okay, we talked about, I think, marketing lessons. Okay, so marketing lessons is something that everyone can learn, right? And it got us 1.2k likes and around 350 new followers. Okay, now there are 2 major keys to make your threads viral. One of them is writing the first tweet that is gonna be a good tweet, okay, gonna make people click, gonna make them like, gonna make them comment. And if you're in different platforms, it can be the intro, okay? If the intro is not a banger intro, people are not gonna keep watching. If your first lines on LinkedIn is not as good as possible, people are not gonna click the read more, right? And number 2, which is also key, promotions. Now, let me break down how exactly we are gonna do that. So the key to a first tweet is basically a clear benefit to the reader. They need to read this first tweet, the first few lines, and understand, okay, this is what I'm gonna benefit from. Also, it's gonna sound new to the audience. One of the mistakes I did with this founder specifically is I posted the same headline, or maybe the headline but with different words, but it sounded the same. So what happened? The first one did very well, but the second one kind of flopped because it's not new to the audience. It needs to sound new to the audience. If you change it, but it made it sound new, it will still work, okay? So made it sound new. If it's really new, it's new, but if it's not new, maybe add some spin to it, okay? Then we wanna use simple words. Again, we are aiming for beginners. So if you use some grandiosic words and some crazy words that only smart people understand, it's gonna be very hard to resonate with the beginners, which we want to attract. Give me 2 minutes and I'll teach you 20 sentences that will change your life forever. Or these 20 sentences will teach you more than 100,000 K degree. This sentence implies that if I'm gonna, so sentences, it's something easy to do, right? If I'm gonna read these sentences, I'm gonna, the value of it is 100K, right? Something like this, okay? Low effort, as I mentioned right now. We also need to make sure that it's realistic, because a lot of time people will write some crazy stuff. And if you read this, it's like, oh, it's not really possible. How can you really do that? Okay, sometimes it's good if you create curiosity, but people need to believe that it's something that they can achieve really. Okay, is that if you write something like, after reading these 5 sentences, you're gonna make 10 handstands every day, it's not really realistic, it's not really real, so make sure that it's real. And obviously, not all the time you can make it like this, but make sure that when you do, it's falling to this category. Let me give you one example from this thread. This one is talking about profitable SaaS. This one is talking about making money with SaaS. And I know specifically that my audience is not making a lot of money with SaaS. Most of them, it takes them months to make money with SaaS. So I mentioned here that I made $30 after 29 days. I told some story. I told a result they can benefit. So it's a clear benefit for them. You learn how to build profitable SaaS after you read this thread, okay? All you need to do is read these 13 lessons and you can copy that for your own, okay? So it sounds easy to apply. It's realistic. It's actually a real story. It's actually low effort and so on, okay? So make sure that you use this. Now, how to get promotions? Okay, so there are 2 ways you can get promotions, 2 ways that we use to get promotions. First of all, you go to profiles and you find profiles that retweet other people. If you see consistently they retweet other people, it means they offer some kind of selling a retweet or something like this. I'll tell you in a moment how you can reach them out. This is one thing. The second thing is, for example, so in a few weeks, I'm gonna post 20 coding lessons that I wanna post, okay? So this is something broad that everyone that knows coding or wants to know how to code is gonna be interested in. So now I'm thinking, okay, who are the people that might be a good fit to take this post and maybe retweet this? And I'll have a list of maybe 5 to 10 people that are fit to retweet my post, that it's relevant for their audience, that if I show them the thread, they might find it valuable to their audience. Now then what I would do is I would do something like, hey, I really like your content, I really like your blah blah. Maybe be really specific about the content. I really like the thread that you wrote about XYZ. It helped me do this thing. I think I need to apply this to my life, blah blah blah. And then you mentioned that, hey, I see that your audience is really relevant for a thread I'm writing. What does it take for you to give me a retweet or to do a retweet for me? I'm willing to pay if it's needed, okay? And actually, if they ask you to pay, okay? And I'll tell you why it's important, because when you are starting out on social media, whichever platform you do, you're gonna get zero reach. And writing content, it's something that takes time, effort, creativity. Make sure that your creativity, time, and energy is well spent. And the way to do that is to get a lot of reach to your content. If you start from zero, it's gonna be much harder, okay? I started my Twitter is organic, okay? I didn't really use promotions, nothing, but it took a lot of time to grow. To reach the first 1,000 followers, it took me almost 4 months. To reach 1,000 followers to this client of mine, to this person, it took only a month. So if you want to save some time, make sure you get promotions on your threads. Followers are just a vanity metrics, okay? There are plenty of people online and you can see them. They have thousands of followers, they have all these numbers, they get likes, they get whatever, but they don't really get real fans, okay? Real fans and followers is very different. When people know you, when people trust you, and when people respect you, you build kind of a relationship online that is very different than just having followers. So to build relationships, what you're gonna do is, for every comment you get, you're gonna give them some attention, you're gonna answer some questions, you're gonna show your personality, okay? People follow people. They don't like following corporations or big brands or big names. So show them like maybe weird hobbies, weird things that you do that only you do. Maybe use certain language. For example, I have a tweet that I use like, my SaaS is buggy as hell, but it still makes money, or something like this. Show some personality, show people that you are a real person, okay? So make sure that you build relationships and don't just focus on numbers, okay? Numbers are great, but we want both, okay? We want quantity, we want quality, we want relationship. And the fifth step, which is really important because I see a lot of creators that they grow their profiles, but they don't know how to monetize it. They don't know how to turn these followers to customers. Now, if you follow these 4 steps so far that I showed you, the fifth is gonna be the easiest, okay? Because people, as I said, already know who you are, they care about you, you build trust, all these things that I talked about. Now, what we are trying to do is we are trying to show your offer, what you have to offer to this audience as much as possible. We wanna get as much eyeballs as possible. So what we are gonna do, we are gonna add a call to action in every thread that we are writing. We're gonna do some case studies threads, okay? So if you have a client that you took from X to Z or X to Y, how did you do that, okay? Write a full thread of the steps exactly that everyone can copy, that it's actionable, they can copy, they can do it themselves, and they can apply it to the business. Next, what you can do is you can DM qualified followers. Now, what do I mean by qualified followers? Now, the thing is, as I said, most of people online are beginners, okay? They might not have money, they might not have a business, and you might not want to work with them. We want to find people that we can help, that it's easy for us to help them, and also they can pay you, okay? That can only happen by qualifying them, okay? The way I qualify people is basically the following, okay? So me specifically, I built the tools for this, and the tool is doing the following things. So basically I'm scraping my followers on a daily basis. Every day I get new followers, I scrape them. Then I use some keywords that I know that my followers or my customers, the customers I want, they have these keywords. Then maybe I use some followers count and so on and so forth. In the beginning, you don't really need a software, okay? I used to do it manually, go one by one. Let's say I would get 10, 20, 30 followers a day. I would go each day one by one, see who is relevant, who is not relevant, and I do the following steps. So what I would do, I would look at their profile. I would see what they post about, what they have on their bio, okay? And by the way, I would use keywords to include and exclude on their bio, okay? And then I will look them up on LinkedIn. Most of the times their name is on LinkedIn. If it's an anonymous name, you skip that, okay? Now we find them on LinkedIn. We take a look at how many followers they have. We take a look at the content they post. We look at their company, okay? I like to look at the first company, obviously. Take a look at how many employees. Take a look at the website. Now, if they have 17 employees or something like this, most probably they have money to pay. So let's say this person is relevant, I would reach out to them. The other thing you can do is plug your offer on good tweets. So for example, this tweet got 83 likes. And basically what I did is I plugged my offer, that's all. So for me, the benchmark is 70. It really depends on how much engagement you want. Generally, I don't really want to spam people, so I don't want to show my offer and sell again and again and again. Maybe it's spammy. And make sure that you tweet your offer at least 2 to 3 times per week, okay? Just say what you're offering, just say some benefits, and just tell people what you're offering. For example, this one, okay, I posted my offer and I showed people what I have, okay? DM me if interested, make sure that there is call to action. Now, obviously I can go even deeper on each point, but this is the 5 steps I took to take the 7-figure startup founder from 200 followers to 1.k followers, and more important, get some organic sales to their business. Now, if you're watching this and you have a startup that's doing 7 figures or 8 figures, and you want me to apply the same strategy for you, where basically I implement this strategy for you, you get followers, you get some connections, you get sales, and you get to build an organic sales machine. If it's relevant for you, there is a link down below, go there, let's have a talk. In the talk, basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share with you some ideas that you can apply to your startup. If it's relevant, I will offer that we might work on this together, but if it's not, you still can apply this for your own situation. This video is, basically it's general for a lot of people. It's not specific to your situation. If you want something more specific, more customized, we can jump on a call. I can share with you some ideas. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.